Hey folks, this is the Simplistic Seth, and today I have a video. Now, this video is completely unscripted. I just want to talk to you about a story that's happened over the course of the past 4 to 5 years of my life. And it was a story that was very interesting because it had an ending to it, which just happened the other day. With that being said, let's begin. Sorry, I need my mug before I started. I need to stay hydrated with water. It all began in my high school. Now, before I start, this person, if you haven't seen the title, I'm going to change his name around, so just to protect his identity and, to give you guys an idea of who this person was and all that other stuff. But for confidential purposes, sorry, lost my train of thought. For confidential purposes, I'm going to change his name. So, like I said, back in high school, it was about freshman year, I took a group guitar class, and I praise this class because ever since I took it, I got much better at playing guitar. Although I learned differently than all the other students. And there was this one guy in the class, and his name was George. Now, this George was not your typical student. He was kind of the mischievous sort of fellow. And as it turned out, me and him didn't really get along. I mean, we had a couple disputes, some verbal arguments here and there. So, I wouldn't consider him too big of a friend, just more of a classmate and acquaintance. Throughout sophomore year, I didn't really see him. I saw more of his twin brother, who was more of a party animal than he was. George was more of the athletic soccer player kind of guy, whereas his brother was more of the party animal that got drunk and high all the time, which I guess isn't a bad thing because George's brother's role model was Wiz Khalifa. So sophomore year, I didn't really talk to George or anything like that. And then junior year came, and then I started seeing him more often. And then we had a couple of conversations here and there. And one of his female friends didn't like me for some reason. He hung out with these two girls, and one of them was very attractive, and the other one was like a total snobby bitch. And the snobby bitch didn't like me for whatever reason, and she was all full of herself, and she ended up being in my photography class senior year. Just really stuck up, like one of those stuck up bitches that you know in high school, that kind of girl. So me and him started hanging out more and more at lunch junior year, and things were going good, and then if this was a movie, their Act 2 would begin, which is the conflict. I started calling George my homie because we got a lot closer in friendships, as far as friendship went, and me and him would hang out a lot more, and got along a lot better. Now, towards the middle of junior year, I liked a status of his on Facebook, or a relationship change, or something like that. I liked something and it was on my news feed, and I happened to like it. So minutes later, I'm looking up his name, and it's not visible. I can't find it, and I approached him about it the next day at school. I'm like, George, I looked you up and I couldn't find you on Facebook. And he's like, oh yeah, I deleted it. And then he turns to his friends, the really cute girl and the snobby bitch, and he's all like, yeah, so I was checking my Facebook earlier this morning. I'm like, and then I slam dunk him on. I'm like, what the hell, dude? You just said that you deleted your Facebook. And then I corner him, and he's like, the other Facebook, I'll add you then. And that seemed very suspicious. So on another account and on another window, I logged into a Facebook, and his profile was visible. It occurred to me that he blocked me for no apparent reason whatsoever on Facebook. And my first thoughts were, that backstabbing bastard. So it was speculated that there were accusations that he spread rumors about me false rumors about me throughout junior year, which kind of fucked up my reputation. And then senior year came, where all this anger built up, and at one point I was even planning to kill him, but that's for a whole different story. But I was like, I was so frustrated at him that I although I'm not, the strongest man, I made a verbal threat to his friends that if he ever laid a finger on me, that I'd kick his butt. And I was fucking serious about it. I wouldn't bluff about something like that. So I, kept my distance from him, and then one day, it was like, one day one of his friends brought him to the place I hung out at, which was the senior wall during my senior year, and I approached George and I said, look, what you did was wrong, and I want you to apologize in front of me and my friends and tell me that you're sorry for what you did in backstabbing me. And like I went on for like 2 minutes about this, and then he just chuckles and like shakes his head, and I'm like, whatever, you know what? I'm just gonna let him do his own thing. He could do whatever. So throughout senior year, I just avoided him, didn't want anything to do with him. Towards the end of the first semester at the community college I went to after high school, because I'm currently at my second community college, the first community college I went to, towards the end of the first semester, I kept seeing him walking through the hallways. And I wouldn't say anything to him, and he wouldn't say anything to me except turn around and give me a sinister grin. So then I decided to just own his butt, and during the second semester I decided to just flip him off and just yell at him, just curse at him like, fuck you, you fucking asshole, and go shove a dildo up your ass, you fucking cunt bag, and all these other offensive terms, and he'd just laugh and just walk away. And one time I was hanging out, it was like in the middle of my first semester at the first community college I went to, where I hung out with his brother, and we were chilling and smoking pot at the time, and I was telling him how much I disliked his twin brother, George, and I said, you know what, George is just a backstabbing bastard, and I don't like him for what he did. And then, his brother was obviously like, you know what, I love him because he's my brother, but he does unethical stuff like this all the time, and I can't believe you're one of the first people to point this out. So it was very interesting. So after the first year of community college, I just, over the summer when I went into Israel and did a whole bunch of stuff and had the time of my life, I didn't think once about George. He didn't even cross my mind. I wanted to just forget about it and let him do his own thing. And if it caught up with him and he thought, you know what I did was wrong, I'll come up and, I'll come out and confess it. So I just left it at the river. I did my own thing. George probably, did his own thing. And one day, I bet he just snapped. And that's what happened the other day. I'm not going to show you any screen cap images because I promised myself to keep up his name and his identity confidential. And if people in my personal life know who I am and know the story, then whatever. What I'm trying to tell you is the other day I got a message from him. He finally unblocked me on Facebook, came to his own fucking senses, re-added me. I obviously accepted the friend request, and finally said the thing I've been waiting for about a year or two, which is, I'm sorry, Seth, please forgive me. So I basically won this whole thing. I knew that someday he would just snap and come to me and say, look, Seth, I'm sorry for what I did. It was wrong. Please forgive me. And I knew that if he ever did that, I would totally forgive him for it, because for the most part, I'm forgiving unless someone does something a million times worse than what he did. But what he did wasn't as bad as what some other people have done. So obviously I had to forgive him for what he did. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I forgive you. And I apologized myself. I said, I'm, guilty of the insults, and I'm sorry for insulting you. And, he was like, you know what? Men are men. That's how life rolls. So, he's back, still living in my hometown, and I'm here. Already moved out into my apartment. So, I'm letting him do his own thing, and I guess we're friends again. But, I'm keeping my guard up a little bit. So, I just knew that one day he would snap and really think about this, because I knew that before he went to bed, he'd be thinking about, wow, I feel so bad that I double-crossed Seth. And you know what? That's exactly what George did. He snapped and came to his senses and did what he had to do. So that's basically my story. I'll probably title this Stories from Seth, because this is kind of this new series I'm doing where I talk to you about real life experiences that have happened to me. So if you guys like this, feel free to give it a thumbs up if you want to. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. I have over 100 subscribers. Yay. And if you guys have any requests, just let me know, because I am more than happy to talk in front of this camera and tell you guys about experiences that I've dealt with. So this is going to be a new interesting series, Stories from Seth. This was my story about George, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.